Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there and age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step
Hey everyone, we're back. I'm with the Crypto King. Today we're going to talk about the top things that you should do from beginning to end in order to be successful financially.
Yep, first things first, man. We went over this before, but you never want to set yourself short, right? You got to be able to negotiate who you are. You got to know who you are as a person, what you're capable of. Even you want to be able to understand that you need to know that you can put yourself in difficult situations and figure it out, right? That's even way more powerful than actually knowing what you can do. It's knowing what you can learn to achieve, right? You got to be able to push that needle as far as you possibly can, but you never want to disrespect anybody, letting them feel like they're inferior to you, or in the best words to say overqualified, because jobs will simply not hire you just because they believe you're overqualified. You need to make sure that there's a common middle ground for both yourself and the business. That way they feel like they're benefiting from having you, and that you're always at the end of you're benefiting as well.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. So when we talk about the number one thing that you need, again, that's going to be negotiating, right? You need to tell them your worth, tell them your value, but don't try and seem as though you're bigger than the business itself. I've had jobs that literally could not pay me more, and I had to understand that, walk away, or apply for something bigger and better, because they simply said, hey, yeah, we understand you won't accept this position at this number. We understand what you're worth. Go ahead and apply for this position instead, because this is what we're offering for this position, regardless of what we've stated. And, when you are truly at a place where you are financially free, when you're truly at a place where you set the market for yourself, you can start to say, you know what, this job is not even worth my time. Let me walk away from that. Similar to someone who would not apply for McDonald's to be an associate. You don't go to a big bank like, I don't know, Bank of America and say, hey, I want to be a lead, but I need to make the top end for a lead. Why not just apply for the managerial position up front? Sometimes, in my experience, taking one step down to take two steps up has not been the best. So again, negotiate your value up front.
Yeah, 100%. Go for the position you want, and you gotta, be the part, right? If you want a management position, you can't be acting like a rep. That's just the plain and simple, right? You want to get the highest rep pay, but guess what? Management's position is starting at that highest rep pay. And there's a lot of other benefits, right? You also get a lot more say in the company. They believe you have the credentials to get there. If you start out at a position rather than working it up and working your way up, believe it or not, people's like, oh, if I work my way up, they'll see that I've had growth and this and that. But they also get to watch you not do the things that you need to do. But it gives you more of like a cushion. Okay, you get into that management position, and maybe you aren't the best person in that position. You're not doing the greatest job, but you have the position. You have an opportunity to grow and become better in that position. I started in a management position, and I believe that I can handle a management position. But the crazy thing is when I got my first management position, I had never been a manager, but I believed that I can handle the job. So I put myself in that position. Guess what? I got the job, and I had to learn all of the skills that would require me to be the best I could have been. Guess what? I'm no longer at that position, at that job, but now I can go and work any management position, and I can be the best employee that they're ever going to see in that position. So you got to give yourself the opportunity to not only test that you can do it, but also you got to know that you could do it, right? Take the opportunity and don't set yourself short.
Absolutely. Never set yourself short, sell yourself short. Understand that you are the one who sets your market for yourself. So before I move on to number two, I do want to also preface that nobody tells me what I should apply for. Nobody tells me what type of businesses I should be looking for or running. I have to go out there. I have to scan the market. I have to identify what truly matches my set of skills and what would pay me the most. What benefits am I looking for? Where am I trying to go? Should I look more towards the city jobs? Look more towards government jobs? Look more towards corporate jobs? Look more towards trades, right? These are the things that I have to start to evaluate myself as I scour the internet and the web, because I don't necessarily have a blueprint to look at in order to determine those things. So when I'm out there looking at how successful do I want to be, there's no roadmap. At least you guys can follow this roadmap and say, oh, okay, Festus did this, Festus did that. He just talked about 4 different sectors. Let me look at all 4 of those sectors and see what aligns with me specifically, right? Those are the things that I had to spend years trying to figure out what sectors are even in my lane before applying. Now for number 2, once you've negotiated your value and you understand your worth, number 2 is saving and investing, right? You might have debt, you might have a lot of bills, you might have loans out, but I think it's very imperative that everyone has a company match 401k plan, right? If your company does not offer you a company match 401k plan, for those of you who have never saved or never truly buy and held your investments, having that 401k company match will almost surely help you to achieve that goal. You're getting free money from your employer first and foremost, whether it's 1%, 2, 3, or 4%. And then secondly, you are investing your money before you even see the paycheck, whether it's pre-tax or post-tax money. Because of that incentive, I believe that everyone should have a 401k plan company matched by your employer. This is going to allow you to set it and forget it and use the money that you simply have to now spend, because that's what you've been accustomed to, right? You're not accustomed to saving money. I don't want you to even have to think about it. I want your company to help you help yourself by having that company match.
Yeah, I totally agree. Of course, I have a little bit of a different, aspect to that. If you're already watching this channel, you've subscribed. This is a channel for those who want to be, better for themselves, right? We shouldn't have to tell you that you need to be investing. Well, then that's the reason why you're here. You want to learn how to invest, right? Yes, having a 401k, whether it be a company match or there isn't a company match, it's just having a 401k, is great. It's 100% great. However, if you're someone who is learning the markets and understanding what a 401k is and where that match and where all that stuff comes from, you can actually take the power in your own hands. Open up yourself. What are some of the companies you
have? You have brokerages. I don't like to list my specific, brokerage, but there's plenty of brokerages. I started with Robinhood at one point in time. The only reason why I'm saying a 401k aside from that is, again, if you do the Roth, it's going to be after tax money. After tax money. So with the Roth IRA, that's going to limit your tax liability as well. I didn't want to get that complicated in it. And then, of course, with the company match, that's free money. So you can make $1,000, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 additional on top of your salary just by doing that, which, of course, investing in the open markets, you're not going to make that much of a return. One, your company is giving you $5,000 extra dollars. 2, you're still getting a huge percentage. And 3, you have some say in what you're investing in. For example, I just did 80% of my 401k company match into the S&P 500. That was averaging about 8.95% over the last 10 years. And on top of that, the company match that I'm having is a 4% match. So that's going to raise that to 9, 10, 11, 12, 12.95%. Not bad, about 13% on my money every single year. And then, of course, 4% of what my annual salary is significant. So that is already a boost in itself.
I forgot the fourth fact too, and you mentioned it already, but it is the peace of mind, right? You don't have to worry about moving the money around. They do it for you. It makes it super easy. But of course, putting the money in your own hands and being able to, adjust with the market flows and conditions, you get to do what you want, right? But here's one of the things that we also forget, and most people are like, oh yeah, jump in the stock market, jump into crypto. Great things to do, but you are picking up way more risk than you should. You need to be able to stomach this, otherwise you will 100% lose money. And a big thing I like to say is 100% of traders and investors lose money, especially if they don't know what they're doing, right?
And that's why a 401k is definitely important, because one, you don't have to stomach anything. You're setting it and forgetting it. Most people don't even check their 401k before they realize they have $10,000 to $50,000 in there. Again, a lot of these are going to be ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. Those are heavily monitored, and they have expert investors looking at that concurrently, or AI monitoring it as well. For example, the S&P 500 is actually ran by AI. They're going to determine whether or not the top 500 companies are still the top 500 companies. If one decides that it is no longer going to be a top 500 company, it would drop from that list and then be replaced. When you're looking at America as a whole, the S&P 500 is a great indicator of what the American economy is doing, and that's going to allow you to basically place your bet on America. You want to live here, you want to invest here. Well, what other ETF would you invest in than the S&P 500, which has the top 500 companies in all of America? That will basically say you intend for America to still be doing good 35 years from now by the time you retire. I think that that's a safe bet. It has been for over 200 years, and it will continue to be. So I'm not telling you what to invest in, as I'm not your personal advisor, but I am telling you that a lot of these 401k plans, I've never heard of anyone saying, I've invested in my 401k for 35 years and I'm broke. Never heard that a day in my life.
Can't even say the same. I've never heard that. I don't invest too much. This is, like I said, this is not financial advice. Would never tell you to do the things that I do. But definitely, you want to take it with a grain of salt. Put your money where you can invest it, and you just take your time, right? Let the market do its thing. You don't have to worry about it.
And before we move off of the 401k, I do want to say that back in the day, before the 401k became so prevalent, people were having pensions, right? Everyone was retiring off pensions. They stayed at their employer for 30 plus years. They got a pension, and employers decided that they're no longer going to do that. And so they switched their model to the 401k model. This is the second largest vehicle for every single American to retire outside of your home. If you don't have a home, you have a 401k. That is how most millionaires in America are made. It's not by individualized investing. It's not by even being a real estate property investor. It's by owning a home and having a 401k plan. That is how most millionaires are made in America today, and it has been for the last 100 years. So history repeats itself. I would encourage you to continue to invest in history. And there's too many incentives, including tax breaks, including company matches, including just history letting you know, hey, if you do this, you will be successful. All right. So moving on to number 3 is clearing out all irrelevant debt. All right.
Say that again.
Clearing out all irrelevant debt. I think it's important that if you do need a car, like I am a believer that in certain cities you do not need a car. For example, California, you may not need a car. New York City, you may not need a car. Boston, Massachusetts, you may not need a car.
North
believe
Jersey.
it or not. North New Jersey, Philadelphia, PA, certain cities like Dallas, Texas, you may not need a car. Now, if you are in a city where you do need a vehicle because public transportation isn't as robust, then you should be looking to pay off that car note as soon as possible. The good thing about vehicles, at least in my estimation, is that you know exactly when you can get rid of that car payment. And it is never too far out of the picture, right? The highest that I believe I've seen a car loan go up to is 8 years. Now, I'm not saying that it can't go higher than that. 10 years is absolutely plausible. But what I will tell you is that most people are in a range of 3 to 7 years. Okay? Now, if you have a 3 to 7 year car note, any additional money that you pay onto that, you are essentially setting yourself forward a couple of months at a time. Each time you make one extra payment, because the interest that you would have paid is being eroded almost immediately. Imagine doing that just for 1 year, having one extra payment per month if possible. So if your car note is $400, you're paying $800 every single month. Imagine what that does after 1 year, how much money, how much time you've taken off of your loan. You've taken well over a year off of that loan, I can promise you that, right? And so I say all that to say the car note is one of the biggest expenses that Americans have today in their budget outside of their rent and mortgage. Eliminating that alone is going to set you up for a lot of financial success and financial freedom, which will allow you to eliminate your credit card debt, which on average, if someone is focused, can eliminate their credit card debt in just 18 months.
I think even shorter. I think 12 months. People are so focused on just getting that minimum payment and then adding some. I think you should have a set amount based on your income, and that way you can knock out your debt sooner. I mean, imagine paying off $1,000 and you want to take a whole year. I mean, that's 12 months. You're paying less than $100 per month, but you make more than $100. That, extra Starbucks coffee you get, that, extra going out, maybe even buying certain types of food that you might not always eat. Like, don't go out and eat out. Like, you're going to spend $20-$30 on average every time you go and eat out. Man, go get something from the store, take it home, cook it, save you some money, use that money towards your payment, and $1,000, you'd be paying more than $100 within the next 3 to 4 months and get that all paid off.
I just spent 45 on some Jamaican food the other day. Was it good? Yes. Was it worth it? No. All right. Jamaican food is getting pretty expensive, and I tipped for some very poor service. So I will say that the service industry is becoming that much worse. Maybe if Donald Trump becomes president and then enacts the no tip tax, maybe we'll get better service in the industry. Now,
they pay taxes on tips?
They pay taxes on tips.
I know I pay taxes on tips. But
so
I just wanted to piggyback on something you said, right? So let's say you do have a car, right? And it is an expensive payment or whatever it is. Most people, they don't understand that their car can become an asset, right? Not all debt, not all big debt or unnecessary debt can be deemed unnecessary, because for me, for instance, I use my car for Lyft. I use it to get to work, obviously, need to do that. But I use my car for Lyft, so I'm bringing on extra income. If I did not have a job, I would simply be able to use my car for Lyft, so that way it becomes now an asset. My cell phone, do I need the most shiniest new thing with all the bells and whistles? And that same thing goes for my car, right? I don't need all that. I can set myself a little bit and make sure I got something decent, something that works, something that's going to get the job done. But I want to turn my small debts into assets, right? Because think about it. A house, a home, that is also a debt. It's a pretty big one, but it's also an asset, and it appreciates with every time you put money into it. It appreciates, value goes up. A car, that is a complete liability. You are going to be using it, whether you're using it to become an asset, where in terms of you're making money from it, the value of that is going to eventually start to dwindle, right? When you first get it, the value is here. When you pull off the lot, the value is here. So just kind of want to think about that. Let yourself know, how much am I putting into this? How much is it going to do? Where is it going to get me? How fast is it going to get me there? And is it necessary? That's one of the things you want to know when it comes to at least having those kind of...
Right. I'm not going to shout out any readers or authors today, but everybody knows these famous books out here on assets and liabilities. What I will say, though, is a house is only an asset if it makes you money. Just because it may save you money versus renting, and that's not always true in most cases. a house can still be a liability. Now, although it is, again, one of the prime reasons for wealth in America, in fact, it's the number one reason for wealth in America, that is in terms of net worth. And so you'll see people sell their home and downsize in order to get some of that cash, or maybe even take on a mortgage in retirement in order to get access to some cash and start to pay monthly payments on their house once again. So with that being said, I actually don't think that that is a bad decision when you think about it. Let's say a house is $500,000, you take out a loan of $250,000. You're going to set aside $100,000 for personal use over the next 3 years. You're then using the $150,000 to pay the mortgage for the next 3 years or so. You're still going to have money left over just in case. But then if you want to sell, it's still appreciated over the next 3 years, hopefully. And then when you sell, you're even leaving out with more money. That's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
And then that $100,000 that you spent over a 3-year period is very likely that you could have made $100,000 holding on to the home for 3 years, and voila, you just got an extra 3 years in your home and didn't really have to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very unique ways of living life here in America. One of my houses are almost paid off. I just removed the PMI from both of my properties. You know, things can move in the right direction depending on how you want to structure your debts, how you want to structure your life. I'm very big on saving and investing, not necessarily just paying off the home, but having the ability to at any point in time is very important to me. And again, right now my house is an asset. I use it to make money, but eventually it will be a liability as it is my primary residence and I won't have tenants paying down my debts for me. So right now, as I use it as an asset, it's upon me to take the time to say, I'm going to invest more aggressively. I'm going to save more aggressively. I'm going to look for more income because I'm not always going to have a tenant in this home. I'm not always going to be renting it out. And when I don't, everything should still be the same. Everything should still be crispy and clean. You understand? And I'm already at a point where I don't really need a tenant. I never really did, right? When you buy the house, you qualify to pay off the house your own, right, by yourself. So having a tenant was just extra, which allowed me to do more with that money and time.
100%. I was just thinking about something, right? So we spoke about jobs. I know we're going back to the job thing, right? But it's something that we definitely forgot to mention. Please stop quitting jobs before you have another one to start. That is one of the number one reasons to give yourself extra debt. You're going to bleed through your savings accounts. You're going to bleed through all of your assets. You're going to take out credit cards because you want to be able to survive for the next few months because you did not prepare yourself efficiently. I can't tell you how many times I've left a job and I did not have a plan afterwards. I'm like, I hate this job. It's pissing me off. It's making me feel this way, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? On Friday, or however what day you guys get paid, there's a check there. And that is going to help me elevate and go into the direction that I'm looking to get to. If I get rid of that paycheck, guess what happens? I'm now working backwards. And I'm probably going to be working backwards faster than when I got to where I got to my position, right? So please, the best thing you can do to keep yourself out of trouble is make sure that you keep a job always. Make sure that there's always a check coming in on Friday. You would hate to have to improvise on a Tuesday because guess what? Hey, you know you're not getting paid on Friday, so you don't want to have to do anything stupid that's going to put you in a position that's really going to have bigger consequences longer down the line. You may have to even look for a job that might not even be able to take care of your needs just because out of panic, hey, you spent too much time without a job, so now any job will be fine. And that goes down to the fact of not selling yourself short, right? You quit a job, and then now the demand for a job is much higher. You need it. So that way, when someone's like, hey, you want $15 an hour, but you were getting paid $18, you set yourself short automatically because now it is now a necessity. This is all they're willing to give me? I don't want to go any longer without a job. Now guess what? You had to set yourself short, but you didn't even mean to do that. So please, when you're looking for another job, make sure it's an upgrade. And an upgrade is not always monetary. It can always come down to the benefits that you receive. As Festus said, hey, look, he's getting a 401k match, right? You might have a position that is paying you the exact same thing, but they decided to match your 401k. Instead of 3%, they might be giving you 5%. And now not only are you still getting the same headaches, but now you're earning more free money, right? And this can be structured in many different ways. But the fact of the matter is, the most important fact is, don't leave a job until you have another job lined up and officially are starting. That's it. That's all I got for y'all. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yes, and before I appreciate that, Crypto King. And before I let you go, I do agree with his point. I also do want to say that saving part, that number 2, is very important because it allows you to not just accept any job, right? So I got lowballed plenty of times, but I have the confidence and the ability to say no and wait for something bigger and better that will allow me to even still be looking at properties, still be willing to invest, still be willing to do other things, because I set myself up to where, listen, if I need to quit a job for my emotional frame, for my enjoyment, for my life to go the way I want it to go, I now dictate that because I am financially free in the sense that I'm not beholden to a job. I don't have to wait for something to be lined up. Now, is that absolutely how things should go? Absolutely not. I'd prefer to have something lined up prior to moving forward. But again, jobs are like your babies. They're precious to you. They have some emotional ties to you, but it is an obligation that you do want to hold dear, right? They are paying you for your services. And again, it is for your services. It is at will in most states. Therefore, they have the will to terminate you at any time, and you have the will to quit at any time. The difference is that they're used to having all the money, and when you have the money yourself, you're now able to do the same thing. So, thank you all for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.